I want to talk about, and listen, I am not talking about tithing today. I believe in tithing. My wife and I, for all of our adult lives, we have always been tithers, and we've seen God bless that. But that's not my message today. Uh, I try. Trish and I have always tried to support everything that this church supports, and purposely we do that above our tithe. And listen, I'm just telling you, God blesses. I will tell you this, that if you haven't at this point become a giver, we live to give, and I'm going to prove that to you in just a few minutes. You need to start somewhere. You need to start somewhere. And I'm going to tell you, you may not be able to start at a tithe, but I'm telling you, you need to start somewhere. I'm going to show you something in just a little while. I want to talk about some simple financial strategies to sustain outreach ministries. Before I talk about simplistic, affordable ways to do an eternal work, and that's what we're trying to do, I want to make it very clear that we will only involve ourselves in ministry work that will point people to Jesus. That's the entire goal of everything that we do. We want to plant seed, water seed, God will always give the increase. And in many of the things that we do, our goal is not, we're supporting souls ministry, not with the idea that there's going to be a whole bunch of people come to church. No, our goal is that they will be able to work in a ministry where people will come to know Jesus, and it makes no difference to me what Bible-believing, Bible-teaching church they choose to attend. Makes no difference. Our goal in everything, even in softball, we pray before our ball games. I can't tell you. I've lost the number. Dylan, do you remember? We looked at the number of how many people through the years have played in this league. No, not 400. It's in the thousands. Okay, I thought it's literally in the thousands of people. There's 400 people play in a 4-year period of time. But there have been literally, I wish I could remember the number. I went through, because Bill Brosher, a lot of you know Bill, he is a statistic nut. He doesn't keep them for the year, he keeps them forever. And I've got a grandson that's kind of following in those footsteps. And so the name of everybody that's ever played in that league was recorded, and I went through and counted one day, and it was like 2,500 or something, different people who had played in the league. Yeah. 1570, okay. All right, there's a better number. Here I am, I got caught lying. We have had the opportunity year after year, and oftentimes, listen, we get phone calls. Dylan gets phone calls. I have, when people need prayer, when somebody in the family is dying, when there are hardships or different things going on, we get calls from folks. Why would they call us? Because we're the only connection they have. Not everybody that plays in the league goes to church. And the only spiritual connection they have is Dylan and myself. And so they contact us. And it's an awesome opportunity. I can't spend way too much time. I want to say thank you to all the people in our church family who are faithful, systematic members. I just want to say thank you. I don't know. It's been years since I've looked at any kind of giving records. I don't know what anybody gives. I have no clue. I only know what Trish and I do. this, that we've got to have a huge number of faithful, systematic viewers, because we have continued to be able to pay all the bills and continue to flourish, and not be sitting around wringing our hands wondering if we're going to be able to survive 1 month or another month. And that is never the case. And that is all on you. That's all on you. Every bit of that's on you. All of the financial success is on you. We're on solid financial ground because of you. Occasionally I hear a statement like this. This may be a little abrasive, but I don't have any money to give, but I can give my time. And I appreciate that, because we need to give our time, our talent, and our treasure. But that's like a farmer saying, I don't have any seed to plant, but I'll drive the tractor and plant it in the field. I think I'll just read that one more time. I don't have any money to give, but I can give my time. Be like a farmer saying, I don't have any seed to plant, but I'll drive the tractor and the planter. I've told you what I've told you today and shared this information with you. I want you to understand that there is nothing free. The electric company doesn't come to us and say, hey, we just want to donate 3 months of electric to you. The water company doesn't come and say, hey, we want you to have free water for the next year. So use all you want. You're not going to get a bill. The propane company never once has said, hey, we're going to come and fill your tank up, and it's not going to cost you $1. It's never once happened. If everyone had the kind of philosophy that I just talked about, there wouldn't be any churches or ministry. It couldn't. Everything costs money. Everything costs money. Let's see. Some of the very people who would say, I don't have anything that I can give, are the same people who have money to go to a restaurant, who have money to buy internet, that have money to buy major cable TV packages. It's all a matter of what your priorities are. And I can tell you what my priority is. Before I will buy any of those other things, I'm going to give to God first. Because the only thing that matters is the eternal kingdom work that's going on. When you get down to the end, when it's all finished, it doesn't matter how many channels I had in my house. It doesn't matter how many Xboxes I had. Is that still a thing? Is that still a thing? I don't know if it is. I don't know. I don't have one. It's not going to matter how new of a car I had or whatever. How many times I ate out in a week. None of that stuff's going to matter. What's going to matter? What did I do to make a difference in eternity? And I just promise you, it takes money to make a difference in eternity. Pastor Steve and I are working together with our leaders to make our church better, stronger, more effective than it's ever been. That's always the goal, right? Always want to do better. I want to finish strong. Heard Pastor Freeman say that so many times. I want to finish strong. That's my goal. I want to finish strong. I'm not quitting. And I want there are still some misconceptions. I am not moving to Tennessee. Maybe someday, but not now, or not in the next 3 years. I've made a commitment. I'm here for the rest of this year, and then I've made a commitment to Pastor Steve to be here for at least 2 years after that. And so I am not going, I'm going to go to Tennessee a lot, but I'm just not going to live there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I won't. It all depends on what God asked me to do. And He's already asked me to do something that I'm going to try to hope that praying that He raises up somebody to, I'm just going to hope I just get to cast a vision. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping for a vision casting. And I'm working with a group of leaders in the community now, trying to pull the thing together. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm just a servant of the Lord. That's all. And so would I love to be in Tennessee? I would. But I don't want to be away from my family, and I certainly don't want to be out of the will of God. So we're working. We want the church to be strong, and we want the church to make a difference in eternity. Our Sunday school and Wednesday night Kingdom Kids have a program. I've already said they'll be using a new curriculum, and that'll be starting next month. SOTC leaders after COVID, and everybody knows that this pandemic has affected everything in our society, and it's certainly affected all of our churches, and so, but they're planning and pushing ahead with new and exciting things. They had a party last night. There's other things on the horizon. Kingdom Kids and SOTC have already said this, raise their own budget for the things they want to do every year. And that's an amazing thing. But you might, pull out one of those envelopes and look at it, there is a space on there for SOCT and Kingdom Kids. The money we donate to the Souls Ministry and Hand Up Village is above our general budget. We do those things by faith. By faith. Those are above our general, it's really not in our, the money is not in the general budget. I know how much comes in and what our general budget is, and those kind of ministries are above and beyond. And so we depend on you to go above and beyond to support these important ministries. Now here's the deal. Here's the thing that I want to help you understand. If all hang on a second. I meant to put one of these. I got one in my pocket. I did have one in my pocket. Maybe it's in this pocket. There it is. I didn't put it there. I was going to put one in there. When I put this jacket on, I found money in the coat pocket. That's a good thing, right? All right. Y'all ever seen one of these? What can you do with that? That one right there. That's a $1 bill if you can't see it. What can you do with this? What? A chicken. That's right. No, they're $1.19. You can't do that. You can only $1.19 or something. What's that? All right. That's true. Last time I was down there, every once in a while I buy chicken from there, and I always, they have 50-cent cans. Yeah, that's good. What can you do with this? Okay, all right, good. If you've got another 7 cents to go with it, you can get a large Diet Coke at McDonald's. If you got another 7 cents to go with it. Or what about Dollar Tree? Is it $1.25 yet? Have they raised it? It's already raised? Oh, man. Not much you can do with that, is there? Oh, yes, there. Yes, exactly. With with all the inflation and everything that's happened, if each one of you in this room would take one of these a week and put it in SOTC and one of these in Hand Up Village, we will cover the cost of our commitment to those two ministries. That's it. That's how simple as it is. Is there anything, is that difficult? It's not. It's $52 a year or $104 a year to support both of them. $104 a year. $1. And I know that there are people that go above and beyond that. Maybe we can raise our commitment to other ministries if everybody would just do that. That's the reason that this Souls basket is up here. This Hand Up Village is up here. And if we could just get everybody to do that. That dollar right there can do an eternal work. All right, better put that back in the pocket. I don't want anybody to get the millions of dollars. All right, let me give you one more. I just want you to think outside the box. There are things that you can do that will not break the bank. There are things that you can do even if you're on a very tight budget. And I know a lot of people are on very tight budgets. Another simplistic financial strategy to support the youth ministry in our church, which would include Kingdom Kids and SOTC, maybe you would consider giving up eating out one time a month. Just giving up eating out one time a month. Now, listen, this is just an idea. There's all kinds of things you can think out of the box. And give the money you would spend. Now, there's going to be people in here who say, well, I don't eat out. The majority of those do eat out multiple times a month. So what if I made a decision that I'm going to eat out one less time a month, and I'm going to give that money to SOTC or just talking about strategic ways to give without destroying your budget. Now, I want to read a couple of verses of scripture that's going to blow all that away anyway. As far as, because you can't give without being blessed. We live to give. And I'm going to get through this very quickly because I've taken a long time. It took me longer to do that than what I thought it would. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 through 8. Remember this. Okay, can you say that with me? Remember this. A farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop. But the one who plants generously will get a generous crop. If you plant seed, if you plant good seed, you will get some kind of harvest. It just depends on what kind of harvest you want. I love this. Here's what Paul said. You must each decide in your heart how much to give. Again, I do not have time to talk about the tithe and how God established that. And in that plan, the work of God is absolutely taken care of if everyone would do that, and then God will take care of you. I don't have time. But I love this. Here's a great starting place. You must each decide in your heart how much to give. And don't give reluctantly or in response pressure. No one ever pressures anybody in this place. In fact, you'll notice that we allow you at your own leisure, and we don't spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes or any time. We say, appreciate your giving. Thank you for that. We'll never pressure you. this is kind of a good place to be in. I'm just shifting all kinds. Delegating. I'm delegating on a regular basis. Get me a shovel! You must decide in your heart how much to give. And don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for God loves to. Person who gives cheerfully. I love to give. See, I made those people mad and they're leaving. No, AJ told me. AJ. And God, it goes on, and God will generously provide all you need. Then you will always have everything you need and plenty left over to share with others. Now here, I want you to hear this. Oftentimes, my generous giving has opened a door of opportunity for me to work. I'm serious. Y'all know how much I love to go to Tennessee, but back just even a few years ago, there was not enough money in our budget for me to go to Tennessee 2 or 3 times a year. And so that money had to come by working, doing something else, raise that money to go. Every once in a while, God would say, I want you to give $1,000 toward this. That's my fishing money. And God would always open up a door here. Get your hands dirty doing this. And make that back and double. Now, what I'm saying is, God will open a door of opportunity for you to be blessed. And you don't need to be going, and sometimes God will put something, or allow something to be put in your mailbox, but you don't need to be going to your mailbox to look and say, okay, God, I give a big gift. Where's my check at? I'm having a good time. And God, I loved Carla's response when I said that. And God will generously provide all you need. Then you'll always have everything you need and plenty left over to share with others. I can put a TP behind that because I've tried it and I found it to be absolutely true. Luke 6, here's what Jesus said. Say, Jesus said. Jesus said, give! You will receive. Your gift will return to you whole, pressed down, shaken together, to make room for more, running over, poured into your lap. The amount you give determine the amount you back. All right. Look at your neighbor and say, he's really going to hurry now. Really hurry now. Say, live to give. In the account of creation, God blessed every living thing and then commanded them to increase and multiply. Is that true? Those two things can only happen through what? Through giving. Increase and multiplication cannot take place without giving. Amen. Not all giving is the same, but one thing that will always be true concerning the law of giving is that God designed everything to give. God designed everything. One of God's universal laws for the world is everything must give to preserve its existence. I don't know why Trish is a pageant, but she's been a brochure much longer than she was only a pageant for 16 years. And then she became a brochure, and she's been a brochure for 47 years. And she was telling me the other day, we need a few more little boys to preserve the brochure name. More little boys, brochure boys. I don't know, that would seem to be important to her. But you know what happens? A brochure boy marries a Bratcher girl, and they do something, and they produce a baby. And I get Cooper. If Dylan said, no, can't do that, there would never be any multiplication, and the brochure name would soon cease to exist. Everything has to give. God designed it that way. Any species of life that ceases to give of itself for the purpose of reproduction will become extinct. Not only did God design everything to give, He also designed all non-living matter to give also. The sun gives us heat and light. The stars have helped sailors travel the seas for thousands of years. The water provides moisture for all the living things and a home for all the creatures that live in the water. The soil provides everything a seed needs to produce a plant. All living and non-living things were designed to give. Have you ever noticed that life's greatest blessings come from giving? There's Cooper. There's Cooper. I know where he's at. He's in the nursery with his grandma. I can't even begin to describe to you what a blessing that little boy has been. I mean, all of our grandkids are amazingly wonderful. But he's our first great-grandchild, and I cannot begin to tell you what a blessing he is to us at this stage of our life. It's amazing, isn't it? That only comes through giving. The woman had to give herself to the man had to give himself. It could not happen. We live, give. The most unhappy people on the face of the earth are people who consume. Take, and not give. It is impossible to be happy if you're just a consumer and not a giver. There are 500 Bible verses that talk about faith and prayer. Love is mentioned 898 in the New Living Translation. I use that because that is the biggest number I can find in all of the different translations. And there are 2,350 Bible verses that talk about money and possessions. 2,350. Money and possessions are the most talked about things in the Bible. Jesus is the number one subject of the entire Bible. But when we talk about things, money and possessions is the number one thing that's mentioned in the Bible. Why is that? Because God knows that our attitude toward money is an indication of where our heart is with God. You see, nothing really belongs to us, and I don't have time to do that today. We are managers of the provision that God places in our hands. We manage God's wealth. Do you hear me? We manage God's wealth. It's not yours. It's not mine. It never was. It never will be. It belongs to God. He has allowed us to use. managing. Put it where it needs to be. Will either follow after gold or God. We cannot serve two masters. We'll either turn to our wallet or to our faith in God as our source of security. One or the other. It's either what I have in my wallet or it's my faith in God that'll be your source of security. But we have to remember that money is a, can you say, resource? But it is not my source. It's a resource, but not my source. The money you have in your wallet has no natural value. It is worth what the government says it's worth. Money in itself is morally neutral and powerless. The devil uses money to seduce us, and that is when we can become powerful in a negative direction. He wants you to fall in love with it. The love of money, it's not talking about money, the love of money is the root of all evil. All kinds of evil will stem from the love of money and possessions. He wants you to fall in love with it so you'll become a slave to money rather than its master. When you become a slave to money, you'll never have enough of it. And it will bind you, hold you, and keep you frustrated and unhappy